being here this morning and supporting our work. And it's not over with. This is only the beginning.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna give you a short story because I like to talk about stories. Shortly after my appointment as chief of police, I received a message from a couple of owners from local adult entertainment clubs across the city of Detroit. And one of the issues that they wanted to talk to me about was our enforcement efforts. And so I'm willing to meet with anyone. And I decided that I would have the meeting. And so there were probably a dozen or so owners of adult entertainment. And I made it known, extremely clear, that we were not going to tolerate any illegal activity occurring on any of these premises. And so during that meeting in my office, several of the owners, without hesitation, said, "Chief, we think it's unfair. We think it's unfair that you go out into our establishments, you cite us, you threaten to close us down because we're allowing prostitution. That's not fair." I was astounded. I couldn't believe my ears. And then the next statement that was made, without hesitation, was that, "Well, Chief, what are we supposed to do? We're businessmen. You," they said me, "you allow the adult entertainment establishments outside the city of Detroit," I'll say it again, outside of the city of Detroit to permit prostitution, and you do nothing. I said, "Well, you're right, I can't do anything. I'm concerned about one place and one place only, and that's the city of Detroit."
Man, all right.
So, that said, thank you.
All right.
I said, this is non-negotiable. We're going to continue to do inspections. And I'll take you back in time. There was another club on this same thoroughfare where an underage dancer was performing. And that club was shut down and continues to remain shut down today. So this is a great day and not the end of our work. So I want to acknowledge a few people. Certainly the Detroit Police Department's Vice Unit just have done a relentless, thorough job in really focusing on a quality of life issue that impacts our community. Certainly our law department, the city's law department, Attorney Doug Baker and his partner Elizabeth Mullins over here in the back, and you'll hear from Attorney Baker in just a minute. And then certainly our other partner, BC. I don't know if Kevin Jones is here or Kevin, thank you. And so this coordinated effort, we couldn't do it alone. As I indicated, we couldn't do it without our community. But you know what's very troubling about this place? Of course, the owner makes a statement that this is a quality night spot. A place is good for the community, in essence. And when warned, and when educated, not once but several times, we will not tolerate prostitution. We will not tolerate illegal drug use. And the response was nothing. They did nothing, and so we came back. And so we certainly want to acknowledge Judge Timothy Kinney, because without his decision, this place would not have been padlocked. So this is a great day in the city of Detroit, and this should serve as a warning to any other owners of adult entertainment inside the city of Detroit. If you engage, we will engage. We're relentless, and we're not going to give up. We fight for our community. The community says we don't want it here, and we're not going to allow it. And again, this is not a slam or an affront to businesses of adult entertainment. You just have to do it by the law. If you do it by the law, we have no problems. But if it persists, we are going to shut you down. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Doug Baker, who's with our city law department.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for your kind words. Good morning, everybody. I'm Chief of the Criminal Enforcement Section of the City Law Department. and I work very closely with Vice in their efforts to regulate adult businesses in the city of Detroit. And I hope this sends the message that if there are violations of our sexually oriented business code or state law, and those violations are brought to us, as they will be, we're going to move against you. We're going to move against the licensing. We're going to move against you as a nuisance, which we have done because, as the chief said, we will not tolerate it. Mayor Duggan is committed to improving the quality of life in the city of Detroit. He's put me into this position to participate in the war on blight in its many forms. And this is one example of a direct attack on the quality of life in the community. It offends the morals of the community. And so we oppose and fight that like we do any other quality of life issue. And I also would like to really give a compliment to the Vice unit. They are very persistent, relentless, very professional people. They're out there regulating day in and day out, and we're always in touch with them. And as the chief said, if a business wants to stay in this business, follow the sexually oriented business code, follow the state laws, and there's nothing to worry about. But if you don't, you've got everything to worry about. Thank you.
So as you can see, we're a partnership in this fight. We're relentless. We're not going to give up. At this time, I bring Kevin Jones, from the manager of Business License Center of BC. Kevin? Thank you.
Good morning. I would just like to compound on the chief and Mr. Doug Baker's statement that today is a huge victory for the city of Detroit. It is not a victory in the fact that we are not out to shut down businesses and put people out of business, but it is a new day, and it's not the Wild Wild West anymore. And with that being said, there are laws, and these laws are put in place for a reason, and we are going to be relentless in making sure that those laws are complied with. Again, the city of Detroit worked with this business in particular. We began with a 90-day suspension. That was the city's due diligence to, again, attempt to work with the business. Due to a blatant show of disrespect for the laws and for the ordinances, we are now at this place now where we have a year shutdown. So again, this is not what we are out to do to shut businesses down, but again, we are in the business of compliance, making sure that compliance is met on all stages. So again, I just want to say thank you, and it's a good day for the city of Detroit. Thank you.
As I indicated, warning after warning, education. That's what this police department was about. We showed tremendous patience, and we were ignored. And so those who are watching, particularly those same business owners that I met with, I made a promise. And the promise was, we will shut you down if you don't adhere to the law. And so this is a great day. And so, but we work for our community. And it's our community who also demanded that we will not tolerate this type of business practice in our city. So with that, I bring someone forward, one of our community members from the Evergreen Lasher 7-8 Mile Community Council, Ms. Dorothy Menifee, President.
Good morning. The Evergreen Lasher 7-8 Mile Road community wants to thank the Detroit Police Department, the Detroit Law Department for their persistence in getting the job done. We thank you. And we want to thank all of the officers, the Detroit police officers in the city, for coming out every day and protecting Detroit's residents. They do a good job. We really appreciate everything that the Law Department and the Police Department do for the residents of the city of Detroit. Thank you.
So again, we talked a lot about, I know we have Deputy Chief Marlon Wilson somewhere, if you could wave your hand, who oversees our Vice Unit, Captain Michael DeSico at the 8th Precinct. Can't call him a commander. think that's a customer who's angry, so he keeps driving by. Captain Commander Patterson, who's here. Where's Deputy Chief Todd Bettison? We all know Deputy Chief Todd Bettison. Right. Lieutenant Gunsmiller. All right. And so with that, we'll open up for any questions that you might have.
Can you talk a little bit about the specifics of the violations that they had, like what prompted the warning and then this year's shutdown?
And I'm going to turn it, but I can just tell you it ranged from prostitution. The way the place is constructed, there's an ordinance that you shouldn't have darkened areas. And in these darkened areas, this is where the prostitution would occur. That's illegal. Drug use. And so that's the genesis, really, of why we're here today. That's the primary. Doug, did you want to add any more to that?
Well, I'd like to, maybe to turn the answer to that question over to my partner in this effort, Miss Elizabeth Mimi Mullins with the Law Department.
Good morning, everybody. With respect to the specific violations, we had worked out an agreement with Penthouse where they, as Chief Craig already indicated, where they were not to have any darkened areas in the club. After we worked out that consent agreement, the club owners then erected curtains, dimmed the lights to the point where vice officers, upon entering, had to use flashlights in order to see their way through. We found used condoms, which is clearly evidence of lewd, illegal sexual activity. I'm sorry? I think we might have had one instance of drug use, but I would like to highlight that the violations were so flagrant because even when Vice was on the premises, dancers were still trying to engage in solicitations with undercover officers, again, while the police were on the premises actively conducting an investigation.
And there was many attempts by Vice to work with this business as well as other sexually oriented businesses. So they would meet with them. We would issue tickets. We would explain how the behavior resulted in the violations. This went on a long time. Then we had a negotiated settlement over a licensing violation where they agreed to close down for 3 months, remodel, not engage in the behavior anymore. Then reopen, undo the remodeling, and we found violations every time Vice went in there after they reopened. So we then brought the nuisance action. So again, we are certainly not anti-business or adult business, but there has to be an adherence to the law, our local ordinances and the state law. And again, if there's not, then we will take action, you can rest assured. Thank you.
Chief, were these inspections done by just routine inspections or undercover operations?
Our Vice unit, on a routine basis, would go in, not just this location, other locations across the city. Sometimes we will receive anonymous complaints, we will respond to those. Sometimes we just conduct a routine inspections. We gave many warnings, many opportunities to do right, and we know that some of the adult entertainment business owners do it the right way. So I don't want to leave the impression that all of them are flagrantly disregarding the law, but those that do will pay a price, and this is the price. Padlock, 1 year.
So routine.
What happens after the 1 year? I mean, what does that mean, padlock 1 year? It's not shut down now, is it?
It's shut down. I mean, 1 year. If you're out of business for 1 year, a lot of things can happen. Maybe the owner might sell. Maybe this will be turned around for some good use in our community. I don't know. That could happen very easily.
Could there possibly be a seizure of this place because there's illegal drugs and prostitution happening?
I think that, you know, as it was pointed out, there may have been one instance. We're not saying that this place was a place that drugs were being sold, but certainly there's responsibility of ownership that if they are aware or know or should have known that illegal drugs were being used here, that's a problem. So certainly that's an option, but it just depends on their level of involvement. Yes, ma'am.
Can they sell it to another adult place?
You know, that's a great question. I don't know the answer, Doug. With it being padlocked, can he transfer ownership to someone else and they can open it up under another
Well,
name?
the owner still owns the building and has the rights of ownership. So the building could be sold tomorrow, but you're going to buy a building that's shut down for a year. And so whether the owner keeps it or transfers it, it's staying padlocked for a year. And we're going to be in the process of selling the contents. And all of this is permitted under state nuisance law.
Sure.
Last name, and I also wanted to ask Dorothy a question. How do you spell your last name, first of all, just so we have it?
M as in Mary, E, N as in Nancy, E, F as in Frank, E-E. M-E-N-E-F-E-E.
And then, what are some of the issues, like what types of things would you guys see happening here in the community? Are you seeing some of this vulgar actions and things like that?
I'm going to let you speak to someone that can give you some really good information on that.
Okay.
Better than I.
I didn't hear
Ask the question again, please.
So, talk to me a little bit about some of the activity that was concerning to you in the community that you were seeing.
Oh, I don't know if you guys remember when we marched on this place when it was first opened in 2008, because of the loud music, the sex that was happening in front of my door. Every morning we would get up and pick up condoms, glasses from the bar, drug packages. It was a lot of things going on here that was affecting the community, around the community. And it was not just happening on my block, it was happening, blocks over. They were coming out of the building and having sex. Okay, once they got the room where they could have it, it kind of went inside, but, and that basically probably because of the complaints that we were giving to the officers that were going on here. So we're happy to see it close down, It did infringe parking. It was just, we had buses and limousines sitting out in front of the house all night coming with diesel, It was, people had to go to work in the morning. It was just terrible, So yes, I think the lawyer, Mr. Hall, said there was no complaints. That was far from it, far from it.
So I just wanted to, piggyback. This owner, no doubt, if I had to take an educated guess, and somebody can help me, this owner probably does not live inside the city of Detroit. How would he feel if this kind of activity was occurring in his neighborhood? How would his neighbors feel? How would he feel if his children going to school the next morning had to be confronted by this? Was good for another community, it's certainly good for the city of Detroit. We're not going to tolerate it here. And as Mr. Baker indicated, the mayor is committed to removing blight. I'm committed, and this is a significant quality of life issue in our city, and it will not be tolerated.
Are you looking at other establishments?
We're always looking. We inspect. So we can see what we expect. We go in. Again, many of the club owners are not appreciative of our inspections, but we are going to continue to do them. And so this location is monumental. As it was pointed out, they were complaining about this location as far back as 2008.
Right.
So this is a day of victory for our community. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
What's the sale of the items inside the club going to look like? What's that process?
Well, we're going to be in touch with a business or a service that will give us an estimate of its value, and then make plans to auction off items that we can that are not bolted down and part of the business itself. but there's a lot of items that are in there that the court order permits us to take possession and sell the contents, and then that money goes to government.
Backing up, you said you could sell it to be a padlock building. Do you know if the city would be willing to work with, if a potential buyer came along that wasn't a strip club, that was something beneficial to the community, would you work with them to remove the padlocks in that year, or is the year a year?
Well, that's a very hypothetical question. If somebody came along, it's not going to operate as a strip club, that's one thing. But the building here has been zoned as a strip club or a gentleman's club, and buyers are going to be buying it, I think, with that zoning in mind. And that buyer is going to buy a padlock business. If something else were to actually happen in reality, then we'll look at that.
Prior to this action, has there been any other legal action taken against this business?
This particular business, oh yeah, because we filed a licensing revocation action months and months ago, and then negotiated a settlement where they voluntarily closed for 3 months and remodeled to open up these VIP rooms, and pledged, of course, to walk the straight and narrow. Then they reopened, put up curtains that undid the remodeling, and when we went in undercover, they were back to their old game again. So instead of having a licensing discussion, we filed the nuisance action.
But prior to this process, any other legal action in years past on this particular business?
Well, there may have been in the past before I came on board 4 years ago. I don't know, but I'm detailing what I've been part of.
I think, again, it's important to note that this has been a complaint of location as far back as 2008. And what we're in 2019, 11 years of living with this and nothing happening. We owe the community an apology. It took us a little time, but we got it done. Yes, sir.
One more thing, Chief Greg.
Yes.
Get that sign down. If you take that sign down, that's not in there. That's not in there no more.
Kind of like where you're going with that. I like where you're
going. For my
going.
children, for my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. Can we take that sign down? My name is Dorian.
Dorian? Yeah. Dorian wants the sign down.
Yeah. Dorian wants the sign down.
I have to follow.
I got to follow another hurricane.
We will follow the law.
I just might.
Well, we were told.
If the wind was to blow it down.
Yeah, we were told by the owner, we're in Detroit, we can do what we want.
That's what he told us.
Is that what the owner told you?
We picketed, he turned the sprinklers on us, and came out and told me, this is Detroit, I can do what I want to do. That's stuck right here, stuck in my car.
Well, so I guess he can't do what he wants.
No, he can't. He had to find out.
This is a day to send him up.
find out.
This is a day that every one of you have sent him a message. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. That's the message from this community. With that, we're going to close out. We thank you.
Yeah.